What we're going to look at in this next chapter is particle systems in Unreal. So I've got myself a simple scene here. It's basically a nighttime scene. Did that on purpose so we could see our particles a little bit easier. And we've got a fire effect here from the Effects Showcase demo. And if I look at this, if I click on it and look at the details panel, you can see that I've got my particle system over here. And I can also see what materials are associated with this particle system. So right now it's using about 3, 4, 5 different materials. Okay, so you can select particle systems and move them around just like any other actor inside of the editor viewport. If I go to the content browser, you can see the particle system here. If I go ahead and double click on this particle system, it's going to open up an editor window, and this editor is called Cascade. Cascade is Unreal's built-in system for creating particle systems and effects. So it's pretty cool, very powerful and robust, and it's actually pretty simple and straightforward to use. May look kind of weird at first when you look at it, but it's not that bad. So up here you have the main menus, pretty standard like in most Unreal Editor windows. We've also got the main toolbar up here so we can save our particle system. We can click on Find in Content Browser, and that'll take us to the content browser. We've also got the Restart Sim. If I click on that, the simulation is going to restart for this particle system. Then we have a Restart Level. It basically does the same thing with one key difference. If I hit Restart Level, the particle system that's inside the actual level file will restart. So if I need to see how something looks with, environment stuff, you may want to use that Restart Level. Shortcut for that is spacebar, by the way. We've also got the ability to undo and redo. We've got this thumbnail feature as well, which is really cool. If I look in the content browser, you can see I've got a thumbnail of the particle effect. If I want to, for example, I can zoom in on this guy, look at it really close, click on the thumbnail button, and when I go back to the content browser, the thumbnail will update, showing me a brand new thumbnail that I just took. So it's basically like taking a snapshot with a camera of your particle system. Then we have the bounds button. This lets us see the bounds of our particle system. We've also got the origin axis in case you want to see where the actual pivot point of this particle system is. A little bit hard to see with the really bright fire, but if you look carefully you can see it's right there. It's the X, Y, and Z widget. We also have the ability to change the background color. So if you're doing particles that are hard to see against black or it's too dark, you can change the background to a lighter color to be able to see that. However, black works perfect for a bright fire. Then we have our level of detail tools up here in the top right, and these allow you to do levels of detail and different logs for the particle system, which optimizes the particle system. That's more of an advanced topic, not going to go over that right now. I may do in the future a follow-up video for that. Right now let's just move on. So we've got the viewport over here, which you've been seeing me work around in, and it works just like a viewport in the regular Unreal Editor. You can hold down the right mouse button, drag around so you can look around. You can also zoom in and out. Very straightforward. Same mouse controls as the regular editor viewport, so you can use the W, A, S, and D keys to move around and stuff. So pretty cool. And we also have different view modes. So if we go to this little view menu, we can see different things like the particle counts, for example, which you can see in these different colored numbers in the lower right. And that allows us to see how many particles that we're actually rendering out at any one time. We can also change the detail mode and the view mode. So right now we're in lit view, but we can switch to a wireframe so you can see the actual particle billboards of the particle system, which is very useful for debugging or setting up your particle system. We can also see the shader complexity. Green are areas that are very cheap to render. Red areas are areas where you have a lot of overdraw and more expensive to render. So you want to keep the red to a minimum, but red isn't necessarily bad, so you're not trying to get rid of all the red. And we'll talk more about that in a future video when we start getting into more advanced particle systems and stuff like that. Then we have all these other options over here. For example, we can turn on a grid. If you feel that you need to see a grid in order to have a better kind of spatial understanding of the viewport, you could. Sometimes it comes in pretty useful. We have this time menu over here that lets you do something pretty cool. We can pause and we can play the simulation of the particle system. So we can actually pause it and have a look at it. We also have this real-time button, and you can control that real-time button with the shortcut Control R. And it's basically like pausing and playing the actual simulation of the particle system. So I can pause it with Control R. I can look at it, kind of analyze it, see if everything looks okay, and then I can start playing again with Control R. We've also got the ability to change the speed of the animation. So right now it's 100%. I can slow it down and choose something like 25% or something slower, so I could see these particles basically in slow motion. The reason why you would want to do that is for debugging, so you could see the particles moving around. Maybe they're moving really fast, so you want to get a good look at them and make sure everything's working the way you want it to. Okay, and then over here we have the emitters tab, but we'll talk more about that in the next video.